action. Hey there, movie kings and queens, and welcome to episode 14 of the Real Game Movie Show. I'm your host, Mike Lovins, and with me is the guy that always gives maximum effort, my co-host, Ryan Provost.
Hey, Mike.
Hello. So, Ryan, how you doing? This is going to be a fun one, I think.
Yeah, I'm really excited. I'm doing great. How are you doing?
I'm good. Yeah, I was looking forward to seeing this, and
Yeah.
we'll go into what we think here in a second, but I'm excited to talk about it.
Speaking of seeing things, I can barely see you right now because your seafoam green t-shirt matches perfectly with the wall behind you. This is a great comment for an audio medium.
Yeah, exactly.
But it just caught my eye for a second.
I'm all about blending in. All right.
Excited. Yay.
So let's start with our newsreel segment.
News reel. It's really news.
It's the real news. All right. So the first trailer for the Queen film, Bohemian Rhapsody, has just been released, and it's causing some controversy.
What? Why?
Have you heard of any of this?
I have heard of the trailer. I've seen it a couple of times. I haven't heard the controversy.
Okay. So the footage from the trailer is being called out for het washing the band's singer.
For what?
Het washing.
Het washing?
Apparently that's a hashtag.
What is that?
For hetero washing. So basically Freddie Mercury, who was openly bisexual, the scenes that they're showing in the trailer portray him mostly with women, and that in the description for the movie, they describe him as having a life-threatening disease, completely avoiding saying that he has AIDS or had AIDS. So the person who is mainly bringing up these critiques is Brian Fuller, who he's a TV producer and director, but he's openly gay and is just having some issues with the way that they're portraying Freddie Mercury just in this trailer. But myself personally, I feel like this is just a teaser trailer. It's just, to let us know about the movie. I don't necessarily think they're trying to portray Freddie Mercury's entire life in this one trailer. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And why are we reading so much into a trailer? I actually really like the trailer. It got me excited. I really like Queen's music. Yeah.
I loved how they
the cuts,
the mashups of the songs.
Oh yeah. That was really cool. And I think Remy looks great.
Yeah.
I'm really excited for it. I didn't think of any of that at all. If anything, I am most offended by the hashtag. What was it? Het washing?
Het washing, yes.
That's dumb. They could have done better than that. Like, I don't know, straight washing or I don't know.
Yeah. Anyway, I just wanted to bring it up, but I think that he's making a little bit more out of it than it needs to be.
Yeah, I mean, it's just a trailer. Now, if the movie completely, the entire movie overlooks that part of his life or portrays it in kind of an off light, then criticism rain down. But I don't need that in a trailer necessarily.
My fear is that I think there is the potential though of that happening just because the guys in the band Queen were really critical on what the story could say, and they wanted it to focus a little bit more on the band than just on Freddie Mercury's life. So I am worried about that outcome, but from the trailer, I don't see that as being the case yet. No,
and the trailer was very clearly focused on Freddie.
Right.
I felt like.
As well as it should.
I know. That's who you think of when you think of Queen. I mean, sure, there are other band members, but come on.
Oh, I totally think of Adam Lambert.
God damn. No, but that's the whole if Freddie Mercury isn't the lead singer of Queen, you don't make a movie about Queen.
Correct.
it's not interesting enough. It's just a band with some popular songs.
Right.
So they need to shut the hell up, make the movie. I don't care if it's all about Freddie Mercury. So yeah.
Yeah.
I'm excited for it though. Great trailer. That was a really solid trailer. Got me excited.
Well, that was one of the movies on my picks for this year. So,
that's right. It was.
So fingers crossed on that. So,
yeah.
All right. So the second thing is it's nothing earth shattering. It's not even really that much news, but it has come out now that Avengers Infinity War will get its home video release on digital on July 31st and Blu-ray and 4K Blu-ray on August 14th. So I only wanted to mention that because I'm so excited to see this movie again. I actually can't wait to own it.
Yeah.
And I keep going back and forth on whether or not I'm going to start doing digital only or still buy the physical media. And this gap between the 2 weeks difference between the two is going to kill me here. So anyway, do you buy movies?
I don't anymore. I really don't. I will, especially now that you have all these digital options, like I will, if I really want to see something, I'll rent it digitally usually. A lot of my favorite movies I either already own or I just can get access to them via like Netflix or HBO or Hulu or one of the several sites that I have. I'm such a millennial.
I see, and I'm still that old school like physical media kind of. Now, I absolutely though love watching things in my iTunes library. Like I'll buy the movie and I'll put the code in and I'll almost always watch it.
Yeah,
through iTunes, but it makes me feel better knowing I have that physical media just in case.
Yeah. I mean, it's nice. The reason I've kind of turned on the physical copies of things is because of how often I've moved. And it
packing
can get
that shit up.
it gets very burdensome. My heaviest box is my box of DVDs and books.
Yeah.
And I hate it.
Well, when we go to move, I'm like, you've seen my shelf of records. I'm dreading ever having to pack those up, but
so I'll contribute to the newsreel this week, Mike.
Okay.
I have something
Yay.
I think you'll like. So when big movies come out, obviously one of the things I always do is start to look for the reviews, look for Rotten Tomatoes score, all that kind of stuff. And one strategy that movie studios use is to have restrictions on when reviews can be released for a movie.
Right.
So if they are afraid that their movie is not going to be reviewed very well, they will not allow critics to release their reviews until maybe a couple days before the movie's released. Well, there's a lot of positive buzz around Solo,
Yay!
the Star Wars movie, coming up, next weekend?
Well, from the time that people start listening to this, the first screenings are tomorrow.
Oh, that's right. But they released the embargo on the reviews early, and so there's already a Rotten Tomatoes score on Solo, and it's do you know what it is?
What is it?
It's 71%.
All right.
What do you think of that?
I think that for this movie, that is good. I think that is really good. This is only the second of those of the standalone Star Wars movies, and would you say 71?
Yes. So for comparison, Rogue One has an 85% right now. I'll pull up all the Star Wars Rotten Tomatoes scores. So Force Awakens has a 93. The Last Jedi has a 91. Episode 1 has a 55. Episode 2 has a 66. Episode 3 has a 79. I don't have the other ones because it's a little older. Yeah, so yeah. That would put it kind of in better prequel territory so far.
And I think that's fair. We've got a brand new person playing Han Solo, a brand new person playing Lando Calrissian. I think, the initial buzz that I've been hearing is good, but I have heard some mixed reviews as well. And from people who are diehard Star Wars fans. So I think that 71%, I think it's going to go up after the movie's released. I have a feeling it's going to go up. But either way, I still think that that's a good number for this movie so far.
Yeah, that's lower than I would have hoped. I would have hoped that it
from what I'd hoped.
Yeah,
sure.
Well, I mean, even what I expected, especially with how well they've done with the last 3 new movies, I expected no less than 80. So I'm a little concerned at a 71%, because I think that these movies, I mean, no Rotten Tomato score is pure, especially when it's part of a franchise. Franchises build a lot of goodwill, and I think they kind of start to get the benefit of a doubt. Like, for instance, I don't think a Pixar movie is going to get a very low Rotten Tomato score because no one wants to be the asshole who shits on Pixar, right?
Yeah.
So at the very least, they're going to, give a decent review, even if they don't really like the movie. I think that's kind of how the Star Wars, maybe, I don't know what to think of this score yet. I think maybe when it's a little bit closer and you get a few more in, if it goes up or down, I think that'll be very telling.
I think too, Last Jedi has a good Rotten Tomatoes score, but it also had some really mixed reviews, and we're coming off of that, and it was just a few months ago, really. So I think you've got some people who are still not quite sure what to think of going into another Star Wars movie right away. But hey, my fingers are crossed for a great movie. I anticipate enjoying it very much. So
I mean, same here. I'm very excited for it still.
And once we get our credentials to be able to vote into Rotten Tomatoes.
Yeah, I'm a little worried, and like we talked about already, I was a little not excited after the director change.
Right.
But we'll see. It's coming.
All right. Well, thanks for bringing that up.
I know you love the Star Wars talk, Mike.
I do love the Star Wars
and
talk.
I do too, so I felt like we should do it.
All right. Well, so speaking of blockbuster movies,
yeah,
we just saw one.
Book Club.
Oh, and it was so sweet.
I actually do want to see Book Club.
Do you?
Yeah.
I kind of do, to be honest with you, just because of who's all in it.
I mean, yeah. One of my coworkers saw it, and we were talking about it today, and she loved it.
Really?
She said it was great. So I feel like it made me want to see a little bit more too. The trailer's good. I liked the Book
It looks
Club
cute.
trailer. Yeah, it looks fun.
Right.
It
looks Netflix.
Well, it looks very, I mean, it's been, I know we got to get to Deadpool, but like, it looks very, we've had a really, I feel like, solid year of female-led comedies so far.
Right. And
between Book Club, if it's good, Life of the Party, which we talked about, I Feel Pretty, even Blockers had, the high school leads were all girls.
Right.
And one of the characters, the mom was one of the lead characters. So I feel like we've had a lot of really strong female comedy this year. It's been a great year for that.
Oh my God. So that just reminded me. Have you seen the trailer for the Happy Time Murders?
No.
Ryan.
What's that?
The Happy Time Murders. It's directed by Brian Henson, and it comes out this summer, and it stars Melissa McCarthy and Maya Rudolph. And they live in a world where puppets are alive, and it's a total rated R comedy. And Melissa McCarthy is a detective, and her partner is a Muppet, basically. What? And there's a red band trailer, and it's completely vulgar. There's a cum scene using silly string. I mean,
oh my gosh, I didn't know this movie existed. If I did, this easily would have been in my most anticipated.
I saw the trailer, and that was the first time I'd heard about this movie. The trailer just released. It's coming out this summer. But it's Brian Henson. It's Jim Henson's son directing this movie. And the tagline is, no sesame, all street.
Oh, oh goodness. Yes. I'm going to watch that immediately after we finish recording.
All right. Okay. So
okay,
we have
Deadpool.
probably yeah. All right. So anyway,
sorry, I got us off track there.
That's okay. People need to hear this stuff.
Yeah.
Right. That's our job.
It is.
All right. So Deadpool 2.
The Squeakquel.
Oh God, please no. So I'm sure most people know what Deadpool's about, but the IMDb synopsis is foul-mouthed mutant mercenary Wade Wilson, aka Deadpool, brings together a team of fellow mutant rogues to protect a young boy of supernatural abilities from the brutal time-traveling mutant Cable. So that doesn't even scratch the surface.
Yeah, and I guess maybe like we did with Avengers, let's maybe give some general non-spoilery thoughts.
Agreed.
There's not going to be a lot we can say without getting into spoiler territory, but let's give some general thoughts, and then we'll give a spoiler warning, and then we'll dive in.
Yeah. So the first thing I was going to mention is that this movie was directed by David Leitch, who did not direct the first one.
Correct.
The first one was directed by Tim Miller, and I guess that he did not want to return because of creative differences with Ryan Reynolds.
Yeah. I heard a little bit about, apparently Miller wanted to take it in a more kind of, I don't want to say generic, but more of a little bit more of a serious superhero direction. And Ryan Reynolds wanted to kind of double down on all the things that made Deadpool 1 successful. And I think that's definitely what they did.
I think so too. Well, and
I think it's clear that Ryan Reynolds won out on that argument.
And Ryan Reynolds also took more of a writer's position this time around too. He was kind of a writing, put his input in on the first time around, but he was actually in the right.
His input in.
He put his input in. Yeah.
What a wordsman you are, Mike.
Words I good at.
Is this Mike Lovins or William Shakespeare?
Okay, so of course, so returning cast: Ryan Reynolds, T.J. Miller, Morena Baccarin. I can never pronounce her name right. Baccarin. And Brianna Hildebrand, who was teenage Negasonic.
Teenage Negasonic. Is that what you're gonna say?
No, I was trying to say Negasonic.
Negasonic.
Warhead. Yeah. But then we've got newcomers to the franchise: Josh Brolin and Zazie Beetz, among others. Then, but this was a great cast.
Oh yeah, solid cast.
So speaking of cast, and I thought that they did a good job, like kind of reintroducing us to the characters from the first movie, but also then giving us new characters to follow along with. So what are some of your initial thoughts?
Well, if I were going to put my input in on this movie, I would say, I talked about a little bit when we did our most anticipated of the year. And I said I left it out of my top 5 because I felt like I was going to get more of the same from this movie. And I was a little more excited about the 5 movies I mentioned because I wasn't exactly sure what I would get.
Sure.
And I think this movie very much lived up to that.
Okay.
Like, I thought I was going to get just more of Deadpool, everything that I loved about the first movie, but nothing very terribly different. And that's pretty much what I felt like we got, Like I said in that episode, if you really liked Deadpool, I think you will really like Deadpool 2. If you did not care for Deadpool, you won't like Deadpool 2.
This probably won't be your bag.
And there are certainly, some cool twists and turns and some jokes and cameos that are unexpected and some things that happen. But as far as the tone and just general, like what happens, pretty much kind of going along with those same beats that Deadpool 1 went with. And I guess I will say I probably would put Deadpool 1 a little bit higher than this one.
Okay.
More so because I didn't know what to expect going into Deadpool 1, and so it was more of a really fun surprise. I may have laughed out loud more in Deadpool 2 though than Deadpool 1, but I wasn't necessarily surprised by what I was getting.
Yeah, that's
that
fair.
makes sense.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that may make me sound, a little lower on it than I mean to, but I got what I expected.
Sure.
And I'm very happy with that.
Yeah. When I first came out of seeing Deadpool 2, my initial thought was, I thought that I liked it better than the first one. And so I ended up rewatching the first Deadpool today. Just I wanted to just kind of compare the two freshly, and I'm not going to say that I like the second one better still, but I don't necessarily like the first one. Like, to me, they're almost on par.
Yeah.
And that might go to the more of the same kind of thing, but I felt like I really equally liked them both.
I mean, if you're going to use Rotten Tomatoes as a barometer of which one's better, how about we play this game? So what do you think the Rotten Tomatoes score is for Deadpool 2?
I'm going to say 82%.
You're very close. 83.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah. So 83% fresh score for Deadpool 2 on Rotten Tomatoes. What do you think the score is for Deadpool 1?
I'm going to guess it's actually higher. I'm going to say like 90.
It is not. To our point, it is also 83.
Okay.
So like I'm saying, more of the same. Like,
there you go then.
And that again, not a bad thing. I really like Deadpool. I think the humor goes along with the kind of humor I have. It definitely speaks to me, and I'm guessing those 17% of critics that didn't like it, it's not for them.
Right.
You know what I mean? And I think that will be the same with any audience. If you liked it, you liked it. If you didn't, you didn't. I know that's super nuanced critique, but it's a very specific sense of humor, and if you get it, then you'll love it.
Now, one of the things though that I did kind of feel like with this movie was that I felt like some of the meta humor and the fourth wall breaking, I felt like there was a little bit more in this one than in the first one.
I think they definitely, with everything about Deadpool 1 that worked and was innovative, I think they basically
bumped it up. Yeah.
So the fourth wall breaking, the very meta references, the violence.
Yeah.
This might have been the most violent movie I've ever seen. The things that made Deadpool rated R, which then became a big talking point after, like, it was the, biggest rated R movie in terms of gross ever, in terms of money it made.
Yeah.
And so it said, okay, we'll make it even more rated R than the first one for the sequel. So they just basically took everything you love about Deadpool, if you love Deadpool, and said, we're going to do a lot of that.
Right.
Again, it works. It's great. It's just more. It's a lot.
So the only other couple things that I wanted to kind of mention in the non-spoiler part, and I'm sure we'll get into the details of these more when we talk spoilers, but for people wondering whether or not they should go see this, there are several good blink and you'll miss it cameos.
Yes.
So just, if you haven't seen it yet, be aware of that and kind of keep your eyes open for it. But also, there are 2 mid-credit scenes that you want to make sure you stick around for. So
I know, I was very confused. I thought there would be an end credit scene. So I saw the first 2 and started doing my internet research while I was sitting there with my friend. And he was like, is there another? I was like, I don't know. Let me look. And I couldn't, it was really hard to find a definitive yes or no. But then I figured it probably wasn't, so we left. So I'm glad there's only the 2.
There are only the 2, yeah. All right. Do you have anything else that you want to say non-spoilery?
I will kind of echo what you said. I really liked the new characters. I think Cable and Domino really shined the most. The kid, meh, he was fine. That character, for being so integral to the plot, wasn't the best to me. But other than that character, and then I don't know. We'll talk more in spoilers. The big reveal of a very pretty famous villain also was kind of hit or miss for me. We'll debate it more.
Okay.
But yeah, so overall, really like the new characters, though. Really liked where they took this, and I think it's very clear where they can take this franchise going forward. And I have some thoughts on that I'll give to when we are talking more spoilers.
Okay. Fair enough. All right. So I think then with that, everybody's being warned right now that spoilers are now open for discussion. So
yeah, you do not accuse us of ruining this movie for you. If you happened to go, I don't know, take a bathroom break during this part of the podcast when we are explicitly telling you that we are going to ruin this movie for you if you have not seen it. So it's your own fault. Do not blame us.
Right. So this movie starts off kind of doing the same thing that
Cable is Thanos. That's the spoiler. He's the same guy.
That is not a spoiler, my friend.
It's the same. Did you know he's the same guy?
It's the same guy. What? All right. So, but it continues the form of storytelling that they did in the first one, where they kind of start off and then kind of like, okay, now we're going to go back in time and
non-linear.
Right.
Yeah.
So I don't always like that, but it works for this, I think.
Yeah, I didn't think they needed to. Again, I keep saying it, but they just took the first movie and made
right,
kind of remade it a little too much for me. I wish they hadn't done that same beat again. I wish they had been a little more creative in how they kicked it off.
Oh, there were so many things though that got pulled over from the first movie, like quoting lines from RoboCop. They did that in both movies. Right. I mean, there were a lot of beat for beat things that they did.
Yeah, I mean, thematically, I knew that was going to happen. I think there were things that weren't necessarily super iconic from the first movie that if you didn't do in the second one, no one would have been like, oh, this isn't really a Deadpool movie. Like that whole non-linear way to start the story.
Yeah, they didn't have to do that.
You didn't need to do that. It just,
I think
it called back a little too much to the first one and those little things, I think when they add up to not make this movie feel separate enough. I feel like that could have added to the quality of this movie had they not done just a few of those things.
I think they were just literally looking to start this movie off with a bang.
Oh my God. Jesus Christ.
But and so, you know, right from the start then, pretty early on, Vanessa is killed.
Yes.
I thought that was pretty obvious. I saw that coming. Did you?
I did not. When it was, although I mean that first scene, I think it's. I was very clear when that first scene was over that that's what happened before they revealed that that's what happened.
I kind of had a feeling going into the movie, even before seeing it, that they were going to end up killing her. Which,
really?
Although now I don't think that matters. But
I don't read the comics or anything. Does she die in the comics? Is that a thing?
I'm not that familiar. Although I know, so in the comic books, her character is also a character called Copycat. I don't know a whole lot about the character itself, but she has like a superhero persona or supervillain. I'm not sure, but and I think that character's been in the Spider-Man universe. But I'm not sure if she got killed off in the comics or not.
Gotcha. Also, can we go back and talk a little bit about the very first sight gag? The little Logan ballerina thing. That was great. I do love the one-sided feud that exists between Deadpool and Wolverine.
Yeah. And that was played out a lot in this movie.
Yes.
There again, though, going back and watching the first one again, too, I caught how much he talks about Hugh Jackman and Wolverine and that movie and stuff like that in there. And so a lot of that carries over, too. But, yeah, it's funny how much he likes to poke fun of Wolverine. And
yeah, I do enjoy that. That was a good first gag to start the movie.
Well, and then he even says, fuck Wolverine. What did he say?
About how he had to go and die.
He had to go and die in his movie, and he's like, well, I'm going to die in this one. And I thought there was something else that he said too, but anyway, it's just a fun running gag.
Yeah, it was good. I enjoyed that.
Yeah, so he blows himself up, and then Colossus comes back in, and I've enjoyed the chemistry and the relationship that they've had between Deadpool and Colossus between the two movies.
Yeah, I like how Colossus in this franchise kind of embodies that stereotypical superhero, the do-gooder,
right?
Who is has the moral compass, doesn't kill bad guys, has the cheesy lines.
Right, very cheesy lines.
Has the big soliloquy about doing what's right.
Yeah. And in fact, in this movie, then Wade even quotes his 4 or 5 moments speech.
Right. So I like that I think that kind of character has to exist. And I think that Colossus was a really smart choice for that. I liked how they used him in the first movie. And then again, here in this one, I thought that he was really well used.
Yeah. This movie tended to incorporate a little bit more of that X-Men energy.
Literally.
Yeah.
There is, speaking of the cameos, I really like the cameo for 2 seconds.
2 seconds.
But even think about, okay, so Nicholas Hoult had to sit in the chair and get full Beast makeup. That takes hours.
Yeah.
For a 2 second, no lines
and
roll.
And I thought that maybe that was stock footage from something before, and they just kind of put it in there. But no, they filmed that for this.
Did that?
Yeah.
Isn't that? I love that. I thought that was so great.
Yeah, and it's like you almost have to be able to pause it or see it more than once to see that. Okay, yes, they're all there.
Yeah.
But
except one. I don't think Jennifer Lawrence was there.
Oh yeah, well, yeah.
She wasn't about to sit in no chair, put on all that blue fucking makeup.
They definitely don't have the budget to throw her in there for 2 seconds. Yeah.
Probably still would have gotten a Best Supporting Actress nomination out of it. She is turning into the Meryl Streep of our generation.
That's too bad.
What?
No, I'm kidding.
Are you throwing shade at Meryl Streep and Jennifer Lawrence?
Not at
what
Meryl
kind
Streep.
of gay are you?
No, I think sometimes Jennifer Lawrence
You best watch your mouth. You get kicked out the club.
I think she can be a little overrated. I'm sorry.
There will be a time and a place for this. It is not now.
This movie. Okay. Speaking of cameos, this is the first Marvel movie that does not have a Stan Lee cameo.
I noticed that.
Yeah. But another blink and you'll miss it moment when Wade is riding through the halls on Professor X's wheelchair.
Scooter?
Yeah.
His wheelchair, yeah.
His scootabout. A bust falls over, and it's of Stan Lee.
Oh, okay. So I guess that is his cameo.
So that's
his clever little, yeah.
I'm doing my air quotes. His cameo.
You do love doing the podcast air quotes.
See, we need to do a video version.
I'd rather not. I look like trash today.
Oh, I'm wearing fucking pajamas.
It's true.
Pretty much.
It's true.
So, yeah. So anyway, it was a little sad not to see him in there, but I guess if I had to be perfectly honest, I didn't really miss it until I realized that, oh yeah, there wasn't a Stan Lee cameo.
I mean, it was a pretty busty performance.
Woo!
I did one.
You
I did a
it.
bad dad
you
joke.
You did it, and I got it even.
Well, of course you got it, Mike. Of course you got it. It was just a stupid dad joke. It wasn't subtle, brilliant wit, which is why I usually serve, and you are never having any of it.
Yeah, I'm witless.
I'm at my wit's end.
Whatever. All right.
So there's the guy I know.
Okay. So where are we?
This episode's off the rails. I love it.
I love it.
Where are we? That's one thing about this movie. It sure did like kind of jump around.
It jumped around
a lot. At times, not really hard to follow. It was always pretty easy to follow, but it just kept jumping and jumping and jumping. You're like, whoa, like
right.
It felt like a race.
Plot point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is, I mean, good. It didn't drag anything out. I don't feel like necessarily, but it just, I don't know. I feel like they threw 20 ideas at the paper and just made it all work, and it works fine. But it did make the movie feel a little, I don't even know what the right word is, rushed.
Yeah, I don't think it felt rushed, but it did just.
Yeah, rushed isn't the right word. It felt very. I don't have ADD, but I imagine if I did, that is what my mind would work like.
Gotcha.
You know
That's
what I mean?
right.
Like it just jumped, bam, 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 like all over the place.
Yeah. But I like how they kind of made Deadpool experiment with trying to become an X-Men in this movie, and Colossus has been trying to get Wade to join the X-Men. You could be an X-Men, and then he tries it, and he's like, nope, I don't have the will enough to not kill people, so I'm on my own. But then
that's where the plot gets a little weird, because then ultimately what he ends up having to do is keep Russell from killing someone,
right,
to save his soul. But why would Wade Wilson really think that when he's a mercenary? He kills people for a living.
I think it's the whole, because he and Vanessa were going to try and have a kid, and it's that whole your heart's not in the right place thing that she keeps saying, when he sees her in visions. It's just, he thinks that he has to save this kid to kind of preserve what Vanessa wanted from him.
And see that, I don't know, that didn't sell it quite enough for me. It felt a little awkward. I think because I was expecting, when they got to that final scene. I know I'm jumping around, but I think it's fine. We're in the spoiler territory. When they got to the final scene, I was honestly expecting at one point Deadpool to be just like, screw this, and shoot the guy himself. Shoot the bad guy himself so that Russell couldn't kill him. Because that's so in line with that character. Deadpool kills constantly and doesn't think twice about it.
And that would have been a really convenient way to end that too, I think.
Right. I don't know logically how the rest of it plays out, but I think that would have been more in line with the character than what ends up happening.
That's probably true. I can see that. I can see your point there. In that, going back to the scene where they're trying to stop this Russell kid, and then Deadpool shoots one of the orderlies or whatever the hell he was. It was almost like that was just another plot point then to get them to where Deadpool ends up going into that ice, that mutant
facility.
prison, because that they had to get them both there, so that's how they moved that along.
I mean, the jumps from one plot point to the next were very quick. They didn't do a lot of explanation. It's just like, this action happens, which causes this next thing, and it's very abrupt. And so, I mean, it's fine. It works okay enough, but I wish the story had a more natural feeling flow and not such a. I felt like there are times like when they introduced Cable, I felt like the story was like, oh shit, we're too far in the movie. We got to introduce Cable. Let's cut to a scene where we're introducing Cable. They do a quick introduction to Cable and that's it. Like it doesn't really dive in much into some of these plot points.
Yeah. Well, and then it's once we're at that prison is when we finally get Cable then, in the meat of the movie.
Yeah.
And I actually thought that those fight scenes and the action scene and stuff going on in the prison were really good.
The action scenes in general in this movie I thought were really good.
Yeah.
I liked how the action was executed in this. Every scene. The early scenes where Deadpool is fighting bad guys and killing his targets. I really liked those scenes. I liked all the Cable fight scenes. The action in this was really well done. I think the action in this was actually for sure a step up from the first movie.
Yeah. Well, so let me ask you then, when Cable shows up and he, you've got Russell and Wade in the same cell, so both their names are listed there. Did you have any thoughts that Cable was there actually for the kid?
Yeah, I knew they had explained that he was there for the kid. They had done something to let you know he was there for the kid. Because I remember, I felt like it was in a trailer too or something that Deadpool was trying to save a kid.
Okay, somewhere I
knew
missed
that was
then.
a plot point. Maybe they didn't say it explicitly in the movie, but I knew that was a plot point, and so I knew he was there for the kid. And so I kind of put it together that this kid in the future killed his family.
Gotcha. Yeah, I didn't catch that, and in fact, other than like the first trailer, I purposely stopped watching the trailers.
Well, I think the trailers did a really good job of not giving away too much.
Yeah,
there were a lot of plot points of this movie I didn't know, and I'm glad I didn't. They didn't reveal that. I didn't know Domino as a character before this, so I didn't know going into the movie that her superpower was luck.
You're right.
And that reveal was fun. I really liked that. There were definitely things I didn't realize going in. They concealed a lot of really good things, and I'm very glad at how they made the trailers so that you didn't have a lot of stuff ruined.
Yeah, and I'm glad that they kept the reveal of Juggernaut out of there.
Yeah, I mean that's the character. I don't know how did you feel about Juggernaut? What were your thoughts?
Other than not being great CGI, I thought it was cool. I liked having him in there.
I mean, he was definitely an improvement over the X-Men, the
X-Men.
Stand.
Oh God, yes,
Juggernaut.
And it was Ryan Reynolds who did the voice of this Juggernaut.
Although for how self-referential this movie is, or this franchise is, I wish they had made some sort of reference to that "I'm the Juggernaut, bitch" line. I was waiting for that.
Funny. Yeah.
Maybe it would have been too on the nose, but when has this franchise ever been afraid
right.
of making a joke that's too on the nose? So I wish that joke had been in there, because whenever I think of Juggernaut, that's the first thing I think of.
Yeah. And then do you want to talk about? Are we ready to talk about the introduction of the X-Force?
Let's talk X-Force.
Okay. What a weird way to put the X-Force together.
Auditions?
LinkedIn auditions.
Yeah. I really liked that. I liked that concept. I liked how they executed it.
Yeah, it's funny because it was another way for them to move the story along in a quick sequence.
Yes.
Which is fine.
Right. I thought it was great. I liked the interviews with the people. I liked the really random superpowers that all these people had.
I love to what was the guy? And Ryan Reynolds kept messing up his name too. But was it
Peter?
It was Peter.
Yeah.
Okay, that's what I thought. I love when he's like, no, I don't. I just saw the ad. I wanted, and they're like, you're in, and Dopinder's back there, and he's like, fuck,
Yeah,
because the whole time he's been trying to get in on that too.
right.
Yeah, Dopinder was another character where it's like I was wondering how they were going to incorporate him into this movie because I'd heard he was going to come back, and I was like, for what?
I mean, I like how his taxi is pretty much Deadpool's Batmobile.
Right.
I really like that. I think that's funny. I think it's great that every time Deadpool has to get somewhere,
right,
it's just Dopinder's taxi.
Yeah.
That is great to me. He doesn't have this big flashy Deadpool mobile. It's always just Dopinder's cab.
Yeah, that is great. So,
did you have a favorite X-Force character?
And
let's not count Domino. Domino's too easy.
Right. No.
Someone else.
I liked Shatterstar.
Yeah.
But my whole deal was they systematically then killed off each of the X-Force so quickly.
Yeah.
I was hoping to get them a little bit more in the movie, but I guess I can understand. I don't know. Part of me was just like, why even bring them in if they're only going to be there for like a minute?
I mean, I liked that gag, but I'm going to throw a little bit of shade.
Okay.
I liked that gag better when they did it in MacGruber.
So I heard somebody else say something about that being a very MacGruber moment.
Because did you ever see MacGruber?
I didn't.
So MacGruber is kind of, I mean, it's a very satirical look at 80s action movies. Yeah. And at the beginning of the movie, he puts together a team, and there's this whole montage of him going and getting all these guys, and there's all these super famous like wrestlers and shit that he's friends with. And then as soon as they're getting ready to go on the mission, he had rigged a bomb or something and accidentally blows them all up.
Okay.
And so very same concept. Get this whole team together. It's a whole big thing about it. And then they die immediately. So all I could think about when I saw this movie saw that part of this movie was that had that not happened in another movie that was really funny, a really funny, very self-aware satire from maybe like 5-6 years ago. So fairly recent. Then maybe I would have thought this was a little more clever. But because the first thing I thought was, oh, this is MacGruber.
Yeah. Did you have any favorites of those X-Force characters?
I mean, I live for Terry Crews.
Okay.
Terry Crews is great.
Yeah.
I think I want to see Terry Crews get his own franchise. I feel like The Rock is probably getting a lot of roles that Terry Crews should be getting.
Yeah.
Although Terry Crews is probably maybe a little more comedic than The Rock. Like The Rock is able to play it a little more serious.
Yeah.
And maybe Terry Crews is just so over the top that.
But Terry Crews is funny where The Rock can tend to be sometimes a little more cheesy.
I think The Rock can be funny. It's just a different kind of funny. Like Terry Crews is just kind of insane funny. So he just plays these kind of off the wall, funny, crazy characters. And I feel like there's something out there for him to do. But I really liked him in this. I thought.
Well, and I feel like we're going to get them all back.
Well, I mean, we do have that time travel component.
We'll see. I think he might be back.
This is the second straight superhero movie, Mike, that killed so many of our favorite characters.
Yeah.
What's going on this year, Mike?
That they may or may not be back.
But I do think here's the one really good thing I will say about that concept is I loved how Deadpool and Domino keep arguing about whether or not luck is a superpower.
Right.
And I feel like the fact that everyone died but her,
like
was a perfect way to set up that was her superpower.
Now, did you catch the who the cameo for who the Vanisher was?
I didn't until the credits.
Okay.
It was in the credits when I was like, I turned to my friend. I was like, "Oh my God, that was Brad Pitt." He goes, "Yeah, that was Brad Pitt. You didn't realize that?" I fully did not realize that was Brad Pitt until the credits.
Yeah. There again, it's one of those blink and you might miss it.
I didn't blink. I saw it. And I didn't even realize that was him.
But so we started talking about Juggernaut a little bit, and I wanted to bring up that the scene where the transport, the battle with the transport, and that was a really good. I mean, I know we already said like the action scenes were good, but that sequence I thought was really cool.
I mean, my favorite part of that whole sequence was seeing Domino's luck powers.
Yeah.
I just love how it played into everything.
She can just reach behind her and just start shooting and hitting the things that she's trying to shoot. I mean,
and like letting go of the wheel.
Yeah. Lady Luck take the wheel.
Take the wheel. Yeah. And the car just going where it needs to go.
Yeah.
It's just, I really liked that. I really like that whole superpower. I like how it played into that scene specifically.
Right.
Ending with her falling on the inflatable panda.
Yeah.
Just great. Oh, and a great use of Enya's Only Time.
Yeah, that was. But then, and that's when after they crash, that's when we see Juggernaut.
Yeah.
For the first time. But,
I mean, okay, so let's talk about it. Like, is there another character? Because they were obviously building up that this was going to be a big character reveal,
right?
Throughout, once they got into the prison, and they really set it up. Do you think there was another character you wish you would have seen in that role, or is Juggernaut, was that the perfect choice?
It worked for me. I liked it. I can't think of somebody that I would have preferred to have seen in that. I can't think of another big unstoppable X-Men or villain. Well, I don't know. Maybe Sabretooth.
Okay.
Maybe Sabretooth. Now that the Wolverine franchise is done, they're probably kind of done with that character.
I mean, as I'm thinking about it now, the character I kind of wish it could have been would have been the Wolverine Origins version of Deadpool. Maybe those worlds had collided.
That would have been a little too weird, I think.
Yeah, probably. I thought it was fine that it was Juggernaut. The character, I think you hit on the head, just maybe a little too CGI.
Yeah.
I think maybe they over exaggerated his look to differentiate him more from that terrible version of the character we got in X-Men 3. So I'm fine with it. I'm making out to be more than it was. It's fine.
I think the way that that Deadpool was fangirling over Juggernaut might have something to do with how Ryan Reynolds feels about the character of Juggernaut. So I think that no matter who else it could have been, it was going to be Juggernaut.
Yeah. Yeah, that's fine.
But when he's walking up to Deadpool and he's like, "I'm going to rip you in half," and then he does. That was kind of gross.
Yeah.
But we do get little baby legs.
Yeah, what did you think of that?
It was weird as hell. It actually kind of made me a little uncomfortable. It was kind of creepy.
I didn't find it that creepy. It's another thing where, okay, so there was an episode of Rick and Morty, which I know you don't watch, but there's an episode of Rick and Morty where they have this interdimensional cable box where it has every channel of every TV show that exists in every alternate universe. And there's one where there's a detective who has a man's upper body but baby legs. So that idea has been done before too, and I was like, oh, it's
gotcha.
Baby legs from Rick and Morty. So I didn't, that gag didn't hit for me as much either, because I've seen it kind of before.
Yeah, well, and then that scene leads to them. That scene leads to them teaming up with Cable. Then,
yeah, which I did not realize. Is Cable a good guy or a bad guy in the comics?
He's a member of X-Force in the comics.
So he is a good guy.
Yeah.
Okay. I thought he was this big bad villain the whole time.
Yeah. So
is he one of those like ambiguous characters like Catwoman?
I can't really recall. It's been a long time since I've read X-Force, but like I don't know if you know this or not, but like in the comics, he is Scott Summers and Jean Grey's son.
Oh, I did not know that.
Yeah. So I don't know if they'll explore that at all in the Deadpool universe, but he is from the future.
Yeah.
That part is accurate. So yeah, it was just another part that it was like very, very quickly all of a sudden he's part of the team.
Well, let's talk about we haven't really done a deep dive into that character in Josh Brolin.
Yeah, let's do that.
What'd you think?
I liked him. I know that there were lots of people that were being considered for that role.
Brad Pitt being one of them, which is why he got the Vanisher role, they think.
Yeah. But I thought
which performance do you like better, his Thanos or his Cable?
Ooh, probably Thanos, just because we've been building up to it for so long, and he's kind of been peppered into some of the other movies a little bit. And
here's what my hot take on this is: I feel like his performance as Thanos, which was completely CGI, felt more human and real than his performance as Cable. I thought he did a great job in both. I love Josh Brolin. He's amazing. But so it's not on him at all. I thought he did a great job in both. I feel like he was given a lot more to do in Avengers than in this.
Yeah.
Which you might say, well, of course they built up Thanos or whatever, but you also got to remember Avengers had approximately 387 cast members. And
388.
Oh, yeah, that's right. I forgot about Teenage Groot. But they had all those characters, and then in this movie, you don't have as many characters. I felt like he was able to steal the spotlight more in Avengers than in Deadpool 2.
Yeah.
And even like his performance, his voice, I feel like was more commanding. His presence was more there as Thanos than as Cable. And I say that loving both performances.
Right.
I thought they were both outstanding, but I did prefer Thanos, I have to say.
Yeah, I mean, and as much as I loved both of these movies, I mean, I would still say I preferred Avengers over this.
Yeah,
too,
same.
so.
Avengers is definitely higher for me than this one.
Yeah. We haven't talked too much about one of the returning characters, and that was Negasonic.
Yeah.
I loved that they gave her a girlfriend.
I did too. I'll say this. I love what was it? Yukio?
Yukio, yeah.
I loved Yukio. I loved how in every scene she's like, "Hey Wade,"
right.
He goes, "Hey Yukio."
Yeah.
And no matter what's happening, even in his death scene.
Right.
I really loved that. I thought it was cute. I think they did that at the expense of Negasonic Teenage Warhead, though. I mean, other than the fact that she has a girlfriend, what did she have to do in this movie?
Be there to be a character from the first movie.
Exactly. And is it just mirrored? Does she look like a lot older in this movie than she did in that?
She did. I mean,
and it's only been 2 years.
I don't know. Maybe it's because her hair is longer or something.
Yeah, maybe.
But
I mean, she looked really good. I think she looks great in this movie. Yeah, some of the characters who had really big parts in the first movie come back in this movie, but don't have as much to do. Negasonic Teenage Warhead being one. Big Al has like a moment.
Yeah.
And that's pretty much it.
Did you notice though that when he went to go get the cocaine from her apartment, it really was next to a box that said the cure for blindness?
Yeah. I did like that. But so, and even TJ Miller's character, he had some good things, but not not too much.
I think they may have purposely
like
willed his role down,
phasing
too.
him out. Yeah.
Yeah, Ryan Reynolds has flat out come out and said he won't be in the next one.
Yeah, which is fine.
Yeah.
It's fine. But Colossus and Dopeender get they get to return fully. But I feel like some of those other characters are in it, but not as much as they were in the first one. Maybe.
Yeah. Well, to be fair, they had to make some room for these new characters that were coming.
Tell that to Avengers Infinity War.
The last thing I want to talk about real quick is the music. So this score, it was done by Tyler Bates. This is the first musical score ever to get a parental advisory sticker.
Oh, because I don't think the audience in my screening caught on to some of the things that were being. I definitely
shitballs.
Yeah, I thought that was clever. I also, just going back to the beginning of the movie, I like how because the opening credits of the first movie were so funny. And great.
Yeah.
And I love how they made it like almost like a Bond movie kind of opening.
But with phrases like, "Did you really just kill her?
Yeah,
Are you kidding me?"
That was cute. I like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, the music, that was funny. I liked that. I liked that gag. I thought it was subtle.
Yeah, it was very subtle.
I don't think audiences will notice it necessarily the first time.
And so that's actually what the special song was at the very end. Like if you stayed and sat through all the credits, you could hear that song.
Oh, okay.
So it's on the soundtrack. I'll just listen to that. I don't need to sit through all the credits to get to it.
Well, speaking of credits, what did you think of the post-credit scenes?
Yeah, let's talk about that. So I thought the end credit scenes were really fun. That's how I think we're going to get the X-Force back. But hopefully somebody takes away the time machine away from Deadpool going forward, because we don't need him having that.
Well, I also my favorite parts about it were how he used it to kill other version of Deadpool.
Yes.
In X-Men Origins, which apparently Hugh Jackman gave permission
the okay,
to use it.
And he killed Ryan Reynolds reading the Green Lantern script.
This is gonna be my big break. I like that. I thought that was great.
Yeah.
Good final gags.
Very, very clever use of that time machine.
For sure.
All right. Well, let's start getting into our takes.
Yeah, let's do that.
Okay. What is your gayest take?
So I said I prefer the Thanos version of Josh Brolin, but damn, Daddy, that scene
he got
where
some daddy vibes, doesn't he?
When he had his shirt off in that hotel room, man, I haven't sweat that much since shirtless Kylo Ren. That was nice. That's all I have to say. That's
fine.
My basement was flooded.
Well, mine is probably equally as thirsty. Ryan Reynolds in gray sweatpants. There was some sweatpant bulge action going on.
Oh yeah, VPL.
And especially when he got them wet when he was outside in the rain.
Ooh.
So you might have to catch that to your next viewing. But there's a scene where he's leaning against the kitchen counter, and you can. Not that I look for these things specifically.
No one's gonna believe that, Mike.
But I may have a thing for gray sweatpants.
Oh.
Anyway, all right.
That's great.
So, what is your shadiest take?
My shadiest take is fully about myself. So I went to this movie twice.
I did too.
And I'm not the proudest of my state of mind in either of them.
Oh no. Okay.
First time I went was Friday morning. I was off work Friday, but I was super hungover. And I went to the Gateway. I got myself a coffee. I just had to process a lot before I got into this movie. And then the second time, I was hanging out with a friend. I didn't expect to go to a second time, but I was hanging out with a friend. We were watching a movie, and then he goes, "Hey, I'm going to go see Deadpool." And I said, "Oh, I'll go with you. And so we went, and I had a few margaritas already and a few glasses of wine. And then I got a beer at the movie, and I slept through probably like 90% of it the second time.
So can you really say you saw it twice?
No, I absolutely cannot. I can't believe how much of that movie I sat through. And now I'm mad at MoviePass because they only let you go once for free. And so I had to pay full IMAX price to go sleep in this movie.
Sometimes a nap is worth whatever the price.
Oh my gosh, Mike. And then when we go to leave, my groggy ass apparently dropped my phone under the chair in the movie theater. My friend drove me. We get all the way, and this was at Lenox, so fully less than half a mile from my house. We go all the way back to his house in Clintonville, which is where my car is, where I realize, oh no, my phone is back there. For some reason, he agrees to drive me all the way back to the movie theater, takes me back. I have to sneak in because it was like the last showing. So it's after midnight at this point. I have to like sneak in as like the last people in the movie theater are coming out. I sneak in, I run back into the theater. We're the very last row of the IMAX. I had to run up there, find my phone, dig around the bottom. Usually I went to go use my flashlight on my phone and thought, oh wait, no, I don't have it because my fucking phone is under this seat. So I had to feel around the dirty floor of the top row of the theater to find my phone. And the things we do for technology, Mike, and I found it, and it was, I'm so ashamed of everything I choose to be in this life. So that was my shadiest take for Deadpool. What was yours?
Oh, mine's kind of boring now.
It's a life I lead.
Oh. Well, okay. I'm going to say mine anyway. So there were so many like references to other Marvel properties and comic books and other film franchises, and most of them work, but there was one that stuck out to me both times that I saw the movie that I have an issue with. And so Deadpool is on his Vespa chasing the truck and chasing Cable, and so he starts shooting at Cable. And he calls him John Connor. I get the Terminator reference, but in the Terminator...
Oh my God, Mike.
It was the Terminator that was sent back to kill the kid, not John Connor. He should have yelled out, called him Terminator, not John Connor. That's my take. So who's Slade? I'm not going to live up to I got drunk and watched it twice and lost my phone under the seat. I mean, anything I said right then was okay, here's my shadiest take. I took my daughter to see it the second time I went.
Oh my God, you're a terrible parent. You're an awful parent. You said you wouldn't take your daughter to see Blockers because it might be too adult for her.
Well, there you go.
Anyway, who's Slade for me? I think this may be yours too, and I do not care. I loved Domino, Zazie Beetz.
Yep. Me
One,
too.
Your name is Zazie Beetz,
right?
That's a great human name. It's a better drag name, and it's an awesome character. She might be my new favorite superhero just from this one movie. I loved that Luck was her power,
yeah.
And I just loved the way she embodied the character. Like, there was something about her performance that you can tell she's had luck her entire life. She just walked around with this smugness and this cockiness that really, like, obviously if that was your superpower, you were just lucky. Of course you would walk around. Like, I just liked how she embodied that character. I thought she did little things here and there. Like when she's falling, I don't think she ever even looked back to see the inflatable panda.
No,
she was just like, this is going to work out somehow. And it did. And I just liked that. I thought that she did these little things here and there that really made that character, took it to another level that made it even better. So she slayed it.
Let's get into some no-ma'ams.
Yeah. I mean, my no-ma'am has less to do with this person's performance and more to do with, I don't think she was used very well. I already kind of said it, but Negasonic, Brianna what's her last name? Hildebrand.
Hildebrand, yeah.
She just didn't get a lot to do in this. And maybe she and Colossus both had so much to do with in the first movie as kind of almost a tag team, and then she just kind of shows up here and there in this one just to show up and basically Yukio kind of stole that role that she had in the first movie, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Like Deadpool had all these like little moments with Negasonic and Deadpool 1, and this one he just had all those little moments with
Yukio.
Yeah. So I thought they kind of wasted that character a little bit.
Yeah, that's fair. Mine was both the actor and the character, but so Julian Dennison, who played Russell Fire Fist.
Yeah.
So I know he's just a kid, but
by the way, this one Grinder hookup I had recently, he also nicknamed me Fire Fist for reasons. Continue.
Yeah. But anyway, so I know he's just a kid, but I did not think he was a good actor. His gangster attitude kind of really got to be annoying to me. But I had read that Ryan Reynolds actually saw him in one of his previous movies and wanted this kid for the role. But I mean, apparently I didn't see what Ryan Reynolds saw in the kid. I just did not like the character or the way he played it.
Yeah, it was. I thought that was a weak link too. Definitely up there for me as a potential no man for sure.
Well, let's go ahead and rate it.
Let's rate it, Mike. How about you start us off?
I will start. So, despite the issues that we've kind of talked about, this was still a fun ride, and I had a great time, and I genuinely loved this movie. So I gave it 3.5 reels.
Okay, 3.5.
3.5. It's certainly not it's not as good as like an Avengers, and it doesn't need to be. So 3.5.
Yeah, I gave it 3. I thought it was a very worthy sequel. As you can hear from us talking about it, I have some nits to pick with it. I have things I would have changed, would think that could have made it better. I think the ceiling for this movie in the way it was made with the story it was telling was probably a 3.5 reels for me, just because Deadpool 1 was probably, I know we didn't rate.
I was just going to ask you, what would you have
probably would have rated it 4. I would have given it 4. I think it was my favorite superhero movie that year. Yeah, because it was that and Civil War that year.
Yeah, I think that's right. Yeah,
2016. I liked it better than Civil War for me personally. Mm-hmm. Whereas this year, I definitely liked Infinity War better than this. And I felt like it was more of the same. And because it was more of the same and didn't really expand upon, I think there are things they can do with this franchise. Like, I hope in Deadpool 3, yes, X-Force, and I hope they make a lot of fun jokes about Disney merging with Fox and the potential of all these other characters. I actually hope they make kind of a spoof on the Avengers.
Well, I hope that we get a Deadpool 3.
Well, I heard that Ryan Reynolds is more interested in making a team-oriented movie than another Deadpool-oriented movie. But, of course, he's going to be a central character. Just like Tony Stark is still a central character in every Avengers movie.
I guess I'm thinking more just if the Disney merger goes through, whether or not Disney will continue with a rated R character like that.
Oh, I think they would. And I think of all the current kind of Fox-owned Marvel properties, Deadpool's the one that's the easiest to move into that universe, just simply because of how meta it is.
Right.
Like, I'm already picturing Deadpool wearing Mickey Mouse ears. You know what I mean? Like, yeah. And just being, I mean, he already exists in a world where he acknowledges that another Deadpool played by the exact same actor already existed and was terrible in theoretically the same universe that this character exists in. You know
Right.
what I mean? So it wouldn't be that difficult for him to just have his own little playground. I don't think he would ever be in an Avengers movie by any
Right.
means. Maybe a cameo at most, but I think he could have his own little corner of that universe where he gets to live and almost critique the Avengers and everything Disney.
All right. So weekly recommendations.
Oh, my favorite time of the week.
What do you have for us then this week?
So this week, I mentioned this movie in one of my honorable mentions of Fierce 5. And because as I started thinking about it more, I watched it again for the first time in probably a couple years. And as I watched it and as it ended, I kind of forgot how much I loved it. And now we were redoing the list, I probably would put it in as my number 5 movie. But it is Scott Pilgrim versus the World. I freaking love that movie. It is so well made. It has a very unique way that it's made, unique perspective. The jokes are so funny to me. It's got peak Michael Cera at his most awkward, adorable self, and some really great performances from people who have since been more famous. So Aubrey Plaza, who was in Parks and Rec, Chris Evans,
Brandon Routh.
Brandon Routh was on the decline at that point.
Okay, well,
this was post Superman for
True.
him. And I don't know if this was before Captain America or after maybe the first Captain America, but it was right around then for Chris Evans.
I think it was closer to Fantastic Four Chris Evans.
Maybe. I don't remember what year Scott Pilgrim was made, but gosh, it's so good. It is so funny. It's a very great original concept. I can't believe it's not more popular than it is, but wow, it's just so good.
Yeah, and a great soundtrack too.
Great music, very visually great film, and the reason I can recommend Gay It is because which Culkin is in it?
Oh, yeah, it's not Macaulay. It's the
Macaulay.
younger one.
Kieran? Is it
Kieran?
Kieran?
I think that is it.
But yeah, there's a Culkin in it who plays Michael Cera's gay roommate, and his character, he might be the slay of that movie. He's so funny. Such a great kind of dry sidekick for Michael Cera.
It's been a long time since I've seen that. I'm gonna have to go back and.
It's on HBO if you have the HBO Go or Now or whatever it's called.
I actually think we own that movie.
You do. You should. It's really good.
Yeah.
And as I was watching it, I was like, I'm surprised this isn't one of Mike's favorite movies ever because of the music part of it.
Right. Well, maybe when we get into 2000s movies.
Yeah, maybe. Oh, yeah. If it was made in the 80s.
Then it would have been right up there.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that's a good one. That's a very good one. So mine is a movie that just came out, and or at least came out this month. It's still in theaters, but it's Tully.
Yeah, I need to see it. I keep hearing really good things about it.
I ended up going to see it. I had an afternoon off, and thank you Movie Pass, I decided to roll the dice on it, and I really enjoyed it. So for anybody who's not familiar with it, it's about a mother of 3 with a newborn. She hires a night nanny to help her stressed life, and then the relationship that they form that kind of changes their lives forever. But anyway, so it was written by Diablo Cody, who wrote Juno, and it was directed by Jason Reitman, who directed Juno and Thank You for Smoking. Mm-hmm. The movie was just it was funny, but it was endearing too. Really good cast: Charlize Theron, Ron Livingston. I love him. In fact, after seeing that movie, I came home and watched Office Space. And then Mackenzie Davis plays Tully, the nanny.
So is it kind of maybe a modern day non-musical Mary Poppins situation?
kind of, but there's a really good twist at the end of the movie.
I feel like there's some sort of twist because I keep hearing it's really good, but not a lot of details about it.
Yes.
And I felt like the trailer was very vague.
Unfortunately, you have to be vague when recommending this movie, but it pays off.
I intend on seeing it just because of all the positive things I've heard about it. And I love Jason Reitman mainly because of Thank You for Smoking. That's one of my favorites of all time. I love Charlize Theron. I guess maybe how ambiguous the trailer was maybe turned me off to it.
And I think that was, although it's gotten really good reviews then, from then people who have seen it. But I think initially people weren't quite sure what to make of this.
Yeah. And it got that really awkward post Avengers week opening. So
yeah, it came out May 4th.
Yeah. So not the best opening weekend for sure.
Right. Yeah. Although it's probably good for like counter I don't know if counter programming is the right word, but like people who show up to go see Avengers and then it was sold out. Maybe
those people are gonna. Can you imagine someone in like full Iron Man get up? It's like, what? Avengers is sold out. Fuck it. Let's go to Tully.
All right, maybe not. Okay,
that's it. Let's wrap this.
All right,
up. You got a husband to pick up.
I know although I think his flight got delayed, but all right. So hey, listen, everybody. Don't forget to follow us on Twitter at Real Gay and Instagram at Real Gay Movie Show. Like our Facebook page. Listen to us on iTunes, Stitcher, Google, YouTube. Make sure you subscribe and give us some feedback. We want to hear what you have to say. We want to tell everybody what you had to say. So anyway, that's going to do it for us this week. Ryan, thank you again for being here as always.
Oh, you are so very welcome.
So that's it for this week, everybody. Have a real gay day.
We out.